Alright guys, let's look at dividing exponents. Alright, so the quotient rule. Okay, the quotient rule states that when we divide, first blank, divide two powers with the same base, we can subtract the exponents. Alright, so when we divide two powers with the same base, we can subtract the exponents. Okay, and we learned this earlier. So if we have the same base, either a variable or a number, okay, we can take these two exponents, and this fraction bar basically means to subtract in this case. Now this is just the exponents, right? If we still have coefficients, we would still divide the coefficients. We would subtract the exponents. So let's look at what that looks like. With numbers, we have 2 cubed divided by 2 squared. Now let's review what this means. 2 cubed means you have 2 times itself 3 times. So in my numerator, I have this right here. In my denominator, I have 2 times itself twice. Okay, now we know that if we're dividing, we can cancel. And so we know that my answer is 2. Now we can also just look at my exponents and subtract, right? We have 2 raised to the third power in the numerator. We're going to subtract exponents, so 3 minus 2, we have 2 raised to the first power, which is 2. Now in this case, my bigger exponent is in the numerator. So I know that when I subtract my exponents, my answer will stay in the numerator. Okay, but that's not the case if my bigger exponent is in the denominator. If my bigger exponent is in the denominator, that will stay in the denominator. We'll look at those in a second. Now what that looks like with variables, x to the fourth divided by x squared. So we can just say, what's 4 minus 2? 4 minus 2 is 2. We know that the bigger exponent is in the numerator, so x squared is going to be in the numerator. Let's look at our example problems. Number 1, we've got x to the 7th over x to the 3rd. Okay, so again, expanded out, what that means is that I've got x times itself 7 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In my denominator, I've got x times itself 3 times. So again, we know we can cancel out. And we know we have x times itself 4 times left over. So x to the 4th. Now again, I'm trying to simplify this for you. I'm just trying to give you a rule. The rule is if it's the same base, in this case the base is x. If it's the same base, I can subtract. 7 minus 3 is 4. X to the 4th power is my answer. Number 2, I have 2 variables. No big deal. I've got x to the 7th over x to the 3rd. We just did that. We know it's x to the 4th. We've also got y to the 8th over y to the 2nd power. So 8 minus 2 is y to the 6th. And both of those are in the numerator. You could say that's over 1. You don't have to write it over 1. Alright, m squared over m squared. Okay, so m squared, exponent of 2. Variable 2 on the bottom, so 2 minus 2, we know that that gives me 0, right? 2 minus 2 is 0, so m to the 0. Now let's review. Anything raised to the 0 power is what? 1. Okay, now why is that the case? M squared, again, is m times m. Same thing on the bottom, m times m. So those cancel out, you have nothing left over, you have 1 left over. You don't have an m left over, you have 1 left over. Number 4, now we're going to add in coefficients. Okay, now again, this is dividing, right? So we're going to divide the coefficients. So this is 9 divided by 3. It's not 9 minus 3. You don't get 6. 9 divided by 3 is 3 over 1. Now let's look at our variables. We have x to the 5th over x to the 3rd. So 5 minus 3 is 2. We're going to subtract exponents. 5 minus 3 is 2. Again, the 5 is the bigger exponent, so x squared is going to stay in the numerator. 6 minus 1 is 5. 6 is the bigger exponent, so again it's going to stay in the numerator. Okay, let's divide these. We divide those, we get a negative 3. We got a to the 10th over a to the 7th, so 10 minus 7, a to the 3rd. b to the 4th over b to the 4th, again. 4 minus 4 is 0, so b's cancel out. c to the 1st, 1 minus 1 is 0, so the c's cancel out. So all you're left with is this. Now number 6, 6 divided by 14, that's not an even number, so we'll just reduce the fraction. Both of those are divisible by 2, both of those are divisible by 2. So we'll reduce by 2, we get 3 over 7. Now let's look at our exponents. X squared, 2 minus 2 is 0. 9 minus 5 is 4, so y to the 4th stays in the numerator. And z to the 1st, because 13 minus 12 is 1. Alright, let's reduce this fraction for number 7. So if we got 12 divided by 4, we know 12 divided by 4 is 3. 9 minus 7, so m squared, n to the 4th, because 5 minus 1 is 4. We still have this over here, so that times 4m squared n to the 4th. So 3 times 4 is 12. M squared, another m squared, would be m to the 4th. N to the 4th would be n to the 8th. Again, product of powers, we're going to add the exponents. So we had 4 plus 4, we got 8. Alright, let's divide our fraction here. So our coefficients, 64 divided by 16 is 4. 7 minus 4, because the same base of x, 7 minus 4 is x to the 3rd, y to the 2nd power. And again, we're going to multiply by 2xy cubed. Oops, sorry. There. Okay, now, once again, everything in that parentheses is raised to the 3rd power. So the 2 is raised to the 3rd power, x to the 3rd power, y to the 3rd power. Alright, so this is going to become 4x cubed y squared times 2 raised to the 3rd power. So 2 times 2 times 2 is going to give me 8. X to the 1st, power raised to a power, so 1 times 3 is x to the 3rd. And then the same thing with the y. Y to the 1st, raised to the 3rd, power to a power, we multiply our exponents. We get that right there. Now, same thing here. We have these two multiplied together, meaning we're going to multiply the coefficients. So 8 times 4 is going to give me 32. X cubed, another x cubed. We're going to add the exponents, product of powers, so x to the 6th. Y squared, y to the 3rd, we add the exponents and we get y to the 5th. Alright, last two. Okay, we're going to divide here. So we've got 45 divided by 9. We get negative 5. Negative 5. A to the 5th divided by a to the 3rd power, so we get a squared. B to the 6th divided by b to the 2nd power, so we get b to the 4th. Now again, that is squared. Alright, let's go ahead and reduce these. So we've got a squared raised to the 4th power. Power to a power, we multiply exponents, so a to the 8th plus 6a to the 12th, b to the 8th. Alright, now let's go ahead and reduce this puppy right here. Negative 5 squared. So negative 5 times itself is going to give me a positive 25. A squared raised to the 2nd power. So again, power raised to a power, we multiply, so a to the 4th power. B to the 4th raised to the 2nd power. Power to a power, we multiply, b to the 8th. And that's times a to the 8th. Plus 6a to the 12th, b to the 8th. So we've got 25, a to the 4th, b to the 8th. We're going to multiply by a to the 8th. So product of powers is going to give me 8 plus 4 is 12. So 25, a to the 12th, b to the 8th, plus 6a to the 12th, b to the 8th. Now let's look here. We have the same variable raised to the same power. These are like terms. A to the 12th, b to the 8th. So we have 25. We add 6 more, and we get 31. A to the 12th, b to the 8th. I know. Very hard. Alright, last one. Let's divide our fraction, So 2 divided by 4 is going to give me 1/2. X to the 9th over x to the 6th is going to give me x to the 3rd. 7 minus 1 is 7, y to the 6th. And that's times 2x squared. Let's go ahead and reduce this. So we've got 2 cubed. Again, that means 2 times itself 3 times. So 2 times 2, which is 4, times another 2, which is 8. X squared raised to the 3rd power, so you get x to the 6th, power to a power, you multiply, y to the 6th also. Now we're going to subtract 6x to the 9th, y to the 12th. Now remember, we're doing this in order of operations. So the first order of operation is to multiply. So let's go ahead and multiply this. These are multiplied together. So on the numerator we have x to the 3rd, x to the 6th, we get x to the 9th. Y to the 6th, y to the 6th, we get y to the 12th. And this is 8 divided by 2, because all this is in the numerator. 8 divided by 2 is going to give me 4. we still have this minus 6x to the 9th y to the 12th. So 4 minus 6, again, we have like terms because same variable, same power. So we can combine those. 4 minus 6 is a negative 2. And what's my unit? My unit is x to the 9th, y to the 12th. Bada bing, bada boom.